Hi everyone, it's Aga from EurekaCrystalBeads.com and I'm here with a super fun beading tutorial for you, but before I get started, as always, don't forget to check out the rest of our channel, and if you like what you see, hit that subscribe button. Don't forget about the notification bell to always be notified about our new content, and if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well. You know what, I recently realized that we haven't had a ring tutorial on the channel for a while now. So this design that I've been working on came in the perfect time to do a ring tutorial. You see, first I thought of this design as a flat one. Look how nice this looks, kind of a little bit flat. But the issue with this was that it was kind of cupping a little bit. And I decided to not take it as a bad thing, because actually the fact that this cannot be flat, but it kind of cups a little bit, is perfect for it to serve as a ring. Just like that, and the fact that it's cupping a little bit on this side as well makes it so that all those crystals are not pressing on your finger just as much as they would if this was a flat design and I just wanted to bend it, against its will, sort of. So it's a perfect design for a ring, and it's quite a statement one. As you can see, I made two versions, one with an extra crystal in the middle, and I'm going to show you how to add this as well. But you can also skip this entirely and just leave it like this. I actually made this version for my mom and she said she would prefer it without the extra bling, so to speak. So you can leave it like this as well and it looks gorgeous. So let me tell you a little bit about what supplies you're going to need to make this ring. It actually doesn't take a lot of beads or a lot of types of beads. You're going to need 3 sizes of round beads, and I do recommend Miyuki. They're perfect for this pattern. And if you're using metallic ones, I do recommend that you use Duracoat ones. So Duracoat is a coating that just kind of prevents the metallic coating rubbing off. And it's just perfect because for a ring, it always rubs against the rest of your fingers. So I do recommend you choose a Duracoat color. For this one, I chose Duracoat Light Pewter. For this one, Duracoat Champagne. It's a lovely color, especially with the tanzanite crystals. And in this video, I'll be using Duracoat Gold. Of course, you can do it with any other color that you like and with any brand of crystals as long as they are 6mm bicones, 4mm bicones, and yeah, that's all the sizes that we need. You can either use Elite Eureka Crystal, which are Austrian crystals. They are machine cut, they're perfect quality, and this is a ring made with Elite Eureka Crystal. But you can also use Preciosa Crystal. These are Preciosa crystals, so the shape is basically the same as you can see, and they both work. So when it comes to the 6mm crystals, you're going to need 8 of them. Then you're going to need 32 of the 4mm crystals. Here I have 24 of the red ones, plus 8 of gold ones, because I want to do it like here, so that on the sides there, I'm going to be using gold ones instead of the colored ones, but this is what it looks like with the colored ones. It's also, I think, quite nice. All right, let's start beading. Before I forget, when it comes to thread, you're gonna need a thicker thread. I'll be using 6-pound Fireline in the color Smoke Gray. I think it's just gonna elevate the light cyan crystal color that we have in here. That's quite light, and the black thread is just gonna look a little bit more elevated there. And for the needle, I'll be using a size 12, but I think 11 would work good as well. I'm also gonna need some thread cutters, and that's basically it. For this one, you're going to need quite a lot of thread, more than a wingspan, but I'm going to start with just over half a wingspan because we're going to go back to get the tail thread as well. So I'm not cutting the thread from the spool yet because we're going to go back to that tail thread later on, and it's just more convenient to sew with over half a wingspan of thread than over a full wingspan of thread, right? So the first thing you do, you pick up 4 6mm bicone beads, slide them down your thread, and then go through all of them again. And when you pull them tight, it's actually useful to tie a little knot just so that they don't move and so that you have a little bit more security in case something happens, to your thread, which does tend to get shredded by those bicones if you're not careful. So I do like to tie 2 regular knots, just like that. I'm going to pass through that bicone, hide the knot, and there we are. I'm not cutting off the thread from the spool yet, and now I'm going to pick up 3 4mm bicones, and I'm going to go right around and through that first bicone that my thread is coming out of. If you're pulling on your thread when you're going through bicones, it's a good idea to pull like directly from the hole, like not like this, because the sharp edges of the bicone may actually cut your thread. So it's a good thing to remember. Meanwhile, I'm picking up a single 11/0 and passing through the next 6mm bicone in this round. Now 3 more 4mm bicones around and through that same 6mm bicone in the round. I'm picking up a single 11/0 again, going through that 6mm bicone, 3 more 4mm bicones, right around and through that 6mm one, an 11/0, through the 6mm bicone, 3 4mm ones, put them on top, and now I'm missing one more 11/0 in here, so I'm gonna add it, just like this. Now I'm going to go through the 11/0 that was already here and through the first 4mm bicone that's on top of the next 6mm bicone. And now we're adding 11/0, so I pick up one 11/0, go through the top 4mm bicone here, another 11/0, and going down the third of the 3, as well as through the 11/0 that's right beneath it. That's connecting the 6mm bicones there. And now directly from that 11/0 in here, I'm gonna go through the next 4mm one, the first one in the 3, add an 11/0, through the second of the 3 bicones, another 11/0, down that third one, and that 11/0 beneath it as well. Now we want to go up again through the first of the 3 4mm bicones, and you just do it 4 times in total, so we have the 11/0s on top of each 3, just like here. That's gonna be my last 11/0 here, and I went down the 4mm bicone and the 11/0, and now I'm gonna go up the first of the 3 4mm bicones as well as the 11/0 that I first added in the previous row. And now I'll add 4 11/0s on top here. So I pick up 4 and I just pass down this 11/0 on the other side of that 4mm bicone. Right off the bat, I'm going to add another row of 6mm bicones in these spaces over here. And I'm gonna start by picking up an 11/0, then my 6mm bicone, and another 11/0. And I'm gonna go straight up the next 11/0 in the next 3. Make sure that that 6mm bicone just kind of sits there perfectly in that spot. And now 4 11/0s on top of the middle bicone in the 3, passing through the 11/0 on the other side of the bicone. And there you go. Another 11/0 6mm bicone, 11/0 onto the next 3. 4 11/0s, 11/0 6mm bicone, 11/0, putting it right in that space in between the 3s. 4 11/0s, and just one more 11/0 6mm bicone, 11/0, and I'm gonna go right up the 11-0 that I normally would have, as well as 2 of the 4 11-0s on top of that 4mm bicone in here. Now I'm going to add a single 11-0 in between these 2 pairs so that I can make a nice little point. And I'm going down all 3 beads on the other side. So the 2 that I added before, and the one that was already in between the 4mm bicones. Now I'm going to go through the first 11-0 before the 6mm bicone, through the bicone itself. And I'm going to add 3 4mm bicones on top of it in the same way as I first did it. So you go right back around and put them on top of that 6mm bicone and put on 11-0s in between all of those bicones right away. So I'm coming out of the 6mm bicone and I'm going to go right up that first of the 4mm bicones here. Make sure to pull tight so that they sit tightly on top here. I'll add another 11-0, go through that middle one, another one in here, and the last one between the 4mm bicone and the 6mm bicone. And while you're here, you're actually going to make another round by going up the first 11-0 that you added in between the bicones here. And you're going to want to put 4 11-0s on top of that bicone. So I'm just going to go through the next 11-0 in here like that. I'll add 4 on top of this one as well. And just through the next 11-0. 4 more. And down through that last one. Through the bicone. And through the 11-0s on the other side. Until I reach the point in between the 2 pairs and the 4 11-0s on top of this 4mm bicone here. I'll add another single 11-0 on top to make it a little bit more pointy. This 11-0 is also going to be useful later on. Through the next 11-0 and the 6mm bicone, I put 3 4mm bicones on top of this one. And now the first round of 11-0s, a single one in between each 2 bicones. I'm holding on to it so that it keeps nice and tight. That's the 4th one. I'm gonna go up the 11-0 and I'll add 4 on top of each of the 4mm bicones. Now through the 6mm bicone and onwards to add another single 11-0 on top of the 4 that are already on top of the next 4mm bicone. And you do that 4 times in total. Added my last 4 beads here. Now I'm gonna go through the 11-0s, starting with this one down here, just going straight through it. Just like that, so that I can reach the next pointy part. So that's the first 11-0 that I added between the 2 pairs here. And quite simply, you pick up a 4mm bicone. I'm switching to gold because I want this nice pattern, just like here, but you can just use the same color or a different color to make it a little bit more interesting. Like in here, these are the ones here on the sides. I'm going to be using gold, and I look for where the 4 beads were that I previously added here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. These are the 4. Let me just maybe. So these are the 3 and then 1 more. So there's the bead in between the bicones. Then there's 4 of those and another one in between the bicones. So you want to go through the 3 last ones that you added on this side, just like this. And that's where you put the bicone. Pull relatively tight. Now it's going to be cupping a little bit because as you can see so far, it's quite flat. So you can just leave it at that or add a 15 in here to keep it flat and make it into a pendant, let's say. But since we want a ring, the cupping is good. I'm gonna go through the 11 in between the bicones as well as the 2 of the 4 that are on top of this 4mm bicone. And now I'm gonna add an 11 on top in here to make it a little bit more pointy. And this is going to be where we're going to attach the band as well. So you can actually leave 2 of these without an 11 in the middle if you like that kind of curved and softer shape. So you can leave this one without one in the middle and this one as well, and just add one in here and in here so that you have a bead where you can attach the band. Meanwhile, I went down the 2 other beads and the one that's in between the bicones. Now I'm gonna go 3 down, 3 of the 4 that were added on top of this next bicone. And that's where I add another gold one and through the pointy 11 right in here. I add another one. I go up the 3 last 11 in the 4 over here. And if you start pulling tight, see it's already cupping a little bit. You will feel it when you do your beadwork. I'm gonna go up here, add my 11 go down 3 of the 4 beads down. And yeah, you just do this 4 times in total again. There's my last 4mm gold bicone in here, and if I pull tight, you'll see that it's cupping and it's going to be perfect for a ring. Now it's a good idea to go through all of the beads in this row again, just the same way, including the 4mm bicones, because it's always a good idea to go through them twice to make sure that whatever happens, even if they cut one strand of your thread, they're not going to cut the other that's in them. So that's what I'm doing. Now that I'm done going around for a second time, it's the perfect place to finish off that end of the thread and go back to my tail that's in the center here. So what I'll do is I just hook my thread on some of the thread bridges in between the beads, make a loop, go through that loop, and tie a little knot. Hide the knot and weave in the tail. Cut off the excess. What you're gonna need now is your tail thread that you can now cut off from the spool, and you're gonna need as much of it as you need to complete the bend of the ring, as well as to add that middle thing if you want to add it, which we're going to do now since the tail thread is right there in the middle. And if you end up with the tail thread in the back, so like where the beadwork is cupped, you just want to go to the front wherever your thread is coming out of, and then you want to go through the nearest 11 that you have. Oh, by the way, you're also going to need an additional 4mm bicone. I forgot to mention that. So instead of 8 for the outline here that I just added, you're gonna need 9 with that extra one. And that's also where the 2 other sizes of 11 come in, the 15 and the 8 and now my thread is coming out of this 11 and what I'll pick up is from the smallest to the largest and back. So 15, 11, 8, then my bicone, then an 8, 11, 15. And you go to the other side and you pass through the 11 on the other side, whichever way. just like that, so that the beads position themselves on top. And you actually go right back up through all of those beads here. And when you pull tight, you want these beads on top of the 11-0 in the initial kind of circle that we added. I'm gonna go through the remaining seed beads here. And I look where my thread is coming out of. So it's currently on this side. And I want to go through that 11-0 from the other side so that the beads and the bicone on top are attached on both sides. Again, pull tight so that they're on top here. And through the next 6mm bicone. As well as the free 11-0 in here. And now what I add is 15-0, 11-0, 8-0, and another 11-0. And I'm gonna go through that bicone on top here, whichever way again. Just like that. Now I pick up a single 11-0. And I go right back down through that sequence of 3 seed beads. So that 8-0, 11-0, 15-0. And I pull tight so that they position themselves like this. And I'm gonna go through the 11-0 on the bottom again from the side where it is not connected to the other seed beads that I just added. Which ultimately doesn't matter because I'm going to be going up these seed beads again to get to the other side of the bicone. So I just go up through whichever of the 11-0s. I go through that bicone. And I add the sequence in reverse. So 11-0, 8-0, 11-0, 15-0. And I pass through the 11-0 that connects the 6mm bicones on this other side. I go back up the 3 of the 4 seed beads, so the 15-0, 11-0, 8-0. Pull it tight so that they position themselves on top of that 11-0 here. I add the one missing 11-0 and I'll pass through the bicone from the opposite side. So where it doesn't have an 11-0 yet connected. Just like that. Now I can go ahead and go down the next sequence that my thread is going out towards through that 11-0 in the bottom there. Now you want to find yourself in a position to make the band of the ring, so you want your thread to be coming out of either of these pointy ends. So how I get there from here is I go up the bicone, then maybe this 11-0 bicone here because that's like the easiest and quickest route. Now up this bicone in here above the 6mm through the 11-0 that connects them and up the remaining 11-0s. And now I'm exactly where I want to be. We're going to be adding the band of the ring made out of 8-0s, and we're gonna do this one. Of course, there's different ways you can make a band for a ring, but for this one we're going to be using right angle weave with some reinforcement there on the sides. So I picked up 3 8-0s and I'm gonna go around that top pointy bead just like that through this next one and through the middle one of the 3 that I added. Now it does not need to be perfect, but with right angle weave it's a great idea to stabilize it. So to go around the 4 beads again, and you go 1 bead at a time so that they position themselves in a nicer way. In that middle one, just like that. Now adding 3 new ones around that top one here. I'm gonna go up 1 bead at a time. And it's also a good idea to hold on to those beads through that middle one. And I'm gonna make another round to reinforce that and to stabilize that. So I'm going down there again. You can help your beads kind of stand upright by just correcting them with your needle. And you keep doing this, you keep adding 3 and going twice around. And then you do as many of these square segments as you need for your ring. And you want standard fit, you don't want it to be too tight, too loose. So when I curve this ring part and I put my band underneath, they are like touching. So when I connect them now, this end of the band to my ring part, it's gonna be a little bit loose, but this is what you want since we're going to tighten it up a little bit with the 15-0s. So to connect that, I want a single 8-0. I go through that 11-0 in that pointy part here. I add another 8-0. And just like before, I go through this segment again to make it a little bit more stable. And I'm doing that 1 bead at a time. Alright, so this is my second round, and what I'll do over here, before I pass through that 11-0, I'm gonna add a single 15-0 in there. Now I pass through the 11-0. Another 15-0 on the other side, and down through the 8-0. Now I'm gonna flip my work so that I go forward, just like this, and I'm going to add 2 15-0s in between each 8-0 and just go down my band, just like that. This is going to tighten it all up. Maybe I'll show you on my finger what the fit should look like. So if you push it a little bit, there's a little bit of space in there. I don't know if you can see that. See? There's a little bit of space in here. Alright, so I'll keep adding 2 15-0s in between the side 8-0s, and I'll meet you on this other side of this band. Alright, so now I'm on the other side, and again, before I pass through the 11-0 to go down the other side and add 15-0s as well, I pick up a single 15-0 to add over here to kind of fill this space. I turn my work again so that I can go forward. I add another 15-0 before I go down this 8-0 here, pull tight, and continue adding 2 15-0s in between the 8-0s. Now I'm gonna strengthen the connection of the ring band to the beadwork by going through the 15-0 that I first added in between the 8-0 and 11-0, and now I'm gonna go down the 2 11-0s that are here on the side, just like that, so that the 15-0 is not only connected to the middle 11-0, but also the 2 11-0s on the side. Now I'm just going to go through the 4mm bicone in here, just through the bicone, so that I can go back around through that 2 on top of the other side. I flipped my work the other way, by the way. And now I go down this 15-0 on the other side. Now, you can leave it at that and finish now, but I really don't like when my thread is just going straight through some beads and it's not like super secured. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to the other side and secure the 15-0s on the other side as well, all the while putting a second strand of thread in all of those beads in this band, because as we all know, rings get a lot of wear so it's good to make them sturdy right away. Right, I'm on the other side, went through the 15-0, now I'm connecting it to the two 11-0s on the side, just the two. Now through the bicone, turning my work up through the two on the other side, and connecting to the 15-0. I'm gonna go all the way down now to add a second thread in these beads as well. Now just in case, I'm gonna try on my ring again. Fits perfectly. So I can just finish my thread by tying a knot on one of the threads that's in between the beads. And here's my finished ring. It's like super sparkly. It's really a statement piece. It's very large. But on the other hand, why not wear it with your everyday outfit? Just make it in your favorite colors. You can use matte beads to make it a little bit less flashy and sparkly. All of the supplies you can find at eurekacrystalbeads.com, of course. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next one. Bye!